not a thing of the future. Going on right now with both GPS and artificial intelligence drones, they communicate with each other. They are problem solving. They do a lot more than just pollinate. The second part of that I thought was interesting was that Walmart holds the patent. The applications propose using drones to identify pests, monitor crop, spray pesticides. Now that is the one that you got to pay attention to. And down here, increase emphasis on sustainability. Sustainability is always going to be an Agenda 21 buzzword. That's what's behind sustainability. The drones could shoot targeted spray of pesticides or simply shoo off birds. Drones could spray pesticides across more targeted set of crops rather than the blanket approach used today. Pollination drones, on the other hand, could help offset the loss of bee populations. So Walmart's created this patent for these bee drones that can target whatever they consider pests and spray them with pesticides. So let's just take a look at the actual patent. So if you scroll down a little bit, it just says that the bee population is dwindling and they're trying to make up for it. They've been trying to pollinate fields by just crop dusting, kind of like chemtrailing pollen out of crop dusters. It's just too expensive. Here's further information on what drones are going to be capable of doing in farms. And this is a lot, is to just put this in the forefront of people's minds subliminally, so they'll be used to the fact that there'll be drones flying around their farms. There's no more organic food. There's no more farm hands. It's all done by automation and artificial intelligence. We try to improve pest management and sustainable pest management. There's that word sustainable again. You're going to see that word coming up a whole lot. That's Agenda 21 codes. And listen to this. Drones are also used to drop other insects that will get rid of the pests on their crops. They're going to have drones dropping other genetically engineered mini drones, whatever the fuck they want to call them. That's one of the best ideas I've ever heard. Let's get an artificial intelligent drone to drop pesticide spraying genetically engineered insects on our food supply.
Claudius, I think those are tracker jackers. Am I wrong?
Oh. Those things are very lethal.
Very. For those of you who don't know, tracker jackers are genetically engineered wasps.
If you go back to the first article, you will see that the drone patents are Walmart's attempt to get into the farm industry, their competitor Amazon, but it wasn't their first time. They've been working on GMO designer cantaloupes for flavor. Executives say the old ones taste like wood. Walmart partnered with Bayer. Keep that in mind. The agricultural giant that is in talks to buy Monsanto. So obviously this is a couple years old because Bayer and Monsanto merged. It's important that you understand the relationship between Walmart and Amazon and their feud that they're having right now. I'm going to try to edit this video as much as I can and still get my point across. Remember when Jade Helm exercises were going on and there was all the FEMA connections in the underground tunnels and they used a facial recognition. Hold on just 1 second while I pull something. Walmart's facial recognition tech would overstep boundaries. Another Walmart patent filed in 2012 describes a system that would use facial recognition technology at the checkout to help store personnel determine if customers are unhappy, and if so, make contact to address any problems. So with this patent, along with the bee drone patent, it seems like they can just use their facial recognition technology, and if they see you're not happy with something, they can just send in their bee drones that will come down and shoot you with poison, and then I guess that's supposed to cheer you up. And that's why I don't shop at Walmart.
By one of the nation's top retailers, Walmart is heating up the competition with Amazon and expanding grocery delivery.
And this comes on the heels of just last week when Amazon made its grocery delivery service to get Amazon Fresh or Whole Foods groceries delivered to them. And why are they doing this? This is their way of staying on your mind always for everything.
Oh, wow.
Yep. It's a big reason why they're doing this now.
This is just further documentation that Monsanto and Walmart have been partners. Walmart has been partners with Bayer and Monsanto separately. This article is about their influence on the TPP negotiations from a couple years ago. If you remember, the TPP was one of the biggest news stories on the internet, although it was a media blackout, of course, on your local Fox 5. But I just want you guys to see that these guys have been working together. This is a pretty good article from Millions Against Monsanto. They have some really good information on their site. As far as like the controlled opposition groups go, I don't know who's really behind this group, but that doesn't mean that their information isn't good. So if you try to figure out who owns Monsanto, then you'll find it's not owned by anybody. It's owned by an investors group. And the same investors that own Monsanto also own Whole Foods. Now how is that for controlling both sides? And no matter where you spend your money, it's all going to the same place. Whole Foods and Monsanto are the same entity, that they are both owned by trading company Vanguard. And keep Vanguard's name right next to you, because staying on genetically modified food, if you go on Walmart's website and just type it in on their search drive, of course it's not going to come up designer cantaloupe. What does come up though is this book here, Genetically Modified Food by Global Viewpoints. Again, there's your Agenda 21 references. This is a children's coming of age diet nutrition book, and you better hurry because there's only one left. Because it's all about their image. They want to look good for the people. And it's not really about the money as much as it is the Luciferian agenda controlling the world's food supply and slow poisoning the human population. This is no on Proposition 37, Coalition Against the Deceptive Food Labeling Scheme, sponsored by farmers and food producers. Bunch of farmers got together and they wanted, label transparency. These are the companies that were totally against it. This is a list of all the companies that spent over $5,000. Let's just do the first two on here. Abbott Nutrition, $100,000. And Cargill, this one was only $10,000. Here's a little background on Abbott. Forced to pay $1.5 billion to resolve criminal and civil investigations, off-labeling, promotion of medication, targeting elderly dementia patients and nursing homes. This is just one of the best companies out there. And of course they would want to sweep Proposition 37 under the rug. Here's the next one. Cargill. Oh yeah, and Nestle. Cocoa plantation slave labor lawsuits. So those were just the first two. Here's Pepsi-Cola, $340,000. Kraft Food, $50,000. Coca-Cola, $235,000. Toast, everything in your shopping cart. These companies are paying big money to make sure that you don't know the ingredients that are in the food that you're eating. Walmart carries all these brands. Their partners have contributed massive amounts of funds so that you won't know what your children are eating. And staying with the lawsuits, this one is about Walmart's partner in the designer cantaloupes, Bayer. They are being sued by Canadian beekeepers along with Syngenta for bee deaths. And this product that they're manufacturing, neonicotinoids, and I'm not going into these articles in great detail because we just have so much information. I'm trying to keep this short, but it just was very brief. This chemical is also known as neonics, and they're nicotine-based pesticides, and they're killing the bee population. And farmers have successfully sued the manufacturers, which is Walmart's partner Bayer. Walmart's got its own lawsuit stealing patents, technology for keeping their produce fresh. They're being sued for $2 billion, but $2 billion is nothing to them. So we've seen that Walmart has already had lawsuits for trying to steal technology for fresh produce, that they are also partners with Monsanto. So here's one of their patents right here. GMO tomatoes that stay fresh for over a month.
Across this great nation, almost everyone has been affected in one way or another by this terrible tomato onslaught. Mrs. Williams, I understand your husband is missing.
Yes,
Do you think he's dead?
Well,
Will you miss him? Will you marry again? What if he's laying in a ditch somewhere, with both his legs broken, calling your name? You will have to find another man, You're no spring chicken.
Attack of the killer tomato.
Be expecting Walmart to just heavily start investing in these kind of products. And once companies start investing, you can't stop. No amount of outrage. It's like the 5G. 5G's coming. They spend all that money beefing up the infrastructure, and they're not just going to let it go because of a couple angry citizens. But if you scroll down here just a little bit, it talks about how successful this is. Sustainable agriculture. Again, that's Agenda 21 talking. Depopulate the planet. 10 Commandments are right on the Georgia Guidestones. This is by Vegetable Gardening with Lorraine. What I really wanted to focus on right now, though, is that once these GMOs are out, there's nothing that you can do to bring them back. But again, it does reiterate the fact that honeybees are in severe decline with the combination of the Monsanto, BT corn, And they think because of these seeds are engineered to be pesticide, that we wouldn't need to spray on pesticides from chemtrails anymore, but that's not the truth. In the last 10 years, U.S. corn acreage has seen a 10-fold increase in pesticide use. Now, these GMO foods that contain these engineered pesticides in them, just imagine what they're doing to the microbes in your gut. These insect drones are really nothing new. This is from 2013. This was 10 years old back then. And this is what made by just some college kids out screwing around. Look at this thing compared to a quarter. That's just what we need. Some underwater insect drones.
We developed a method to transition between formations in 3D.
Like the other article said, they plan on releasing these drones, and they're going to be carrying other mini drones that are spraying poisons. That last footage there was a laboratory setting. This is what it's going to look like in real world time. Watch this. Imagine these little drones are coming at you to help your food supply.
Clear line, entering containment area, clear arm.
Yeah, we're armed.
5, 4, 3. Hard release. So 3, 1, distance complete.
And now they're running some artificial intelligence communicating swarming patterns. When these things lock on with facial recognition or on your RFID chip, and then they come at you and they spray you with poison, and they're probably targeting ISIS. That's what they're doing. You might remember, police used new drone during an active shooter drill at an old Richmond school. So what surprises me the most is that they're actually admitting that this is just a drill. All these hoaxes and false flag shootings, majority of them are just training exercises, interagency drills. They're not real.
Some very realistic looking training for the Richmond police today. They took part in an active shooter drill in which the suspected gunman took hostages. This drill took place at the old Norrell Annex School in Battery Park this afternoon. Well, you know what made it even more realistic? None of the SWAT team members or the hostage negotiators knew it was just a drill.
We don't want to train for things that we can predict. We want to train for things that...
So these people are admitting, when you hear people say, oh, this can't be a false flag, the police would know, somebody would slip up, they're not telling them. The police don't even know their training exercises themselves. They think that they're actually going because there's a mass shooter on a rampage, and that's just not true. They're all just training exercises, and the police don't even know, and they just admitted it.
That are unpredictable, that we don't know what's going on. We're in a building that we haven't seen before or haven't used for training purposes before, and the amount of realism that's being displayed today is again an opportunity to make it as real as possible.
Wow. Officers also used Richmond Police's new drone. They used it to fly in a phone to negotiate the hostage taker and to survey the school. The drone is already...
Yeah, a phone. They're going to drop phones in, all right. They would drop the pound of C4 on this guy, but this wasn't technically, it was a robot, not a drone. But you get my point.
This is going to blow your mind. The U.S. military has commissioned drones for some time now that are so small they're designed to be mistaken for insects. That's right, I said insects. We're told these tiny intel reconnaissance drones are being used in the fight against terrorism. However, reports in New York and the Washington, D.C. area indicate that these drones, referred to as tiny machines hovering around, are being seen by private individuals at public gatherings, such as the anti-war rally in Lafayette Square recently. Those reporting these tiny machines flying around insist they were not real bugs. Of course, the FBI, CIA, and other governing organizations deny these spy drones were in use at those times and places.
We've seen that drone technologies keep getting more advanced, smarter, more capabilities, always getting smaller. Nanotech is what you're going to see next. Spraying smart dust in our chemtrails, and they get inside our bodies, and they're doing massive amounts of damage.
These new fires. Starting all these new fires. Now, there's a video taken next to the Kmart on the day of the fires, 12:43. Look at how dark it is. But look at those embers circulating. Look at how they're going from right to left, folks. And when the camera pans out, look at the smoke. The smoke is going straight up. So that means the wind was not blowing from right to left, but look at the embers. Look at how they organize and circle, and they form in clusters. This is what the gentleman agent, look at that right there. Seeing a load by the firemen? That's what they're talking about, is these self-organizing, programmable, artificial intelligence ember firebots that allegedly now is being thought of as the causal factor for burning down buildings, hitting one and not hitting another. I mean, this is the new technology, the highly advanced technology that they've been using. Look at the fire. Look at how it organizes and creates its own sparking. And look at all the embers in there. Those could very well be all organized nanobots that are being programmed to attack one area and not another. And we have much evidence, and we're going to find, I'm sure, much more evidence that this is occurring in many of the fires we're seeing around the world going on now today. And we're also learning about all the companies that make the programmable artificial intelligent nanobots, not necessarily for fires, but look at the size of these things, folks. I mean, you're talking into the nanometer size in technology that is so tiny and so small that you need super special equipment, you need vacuum rooms, and you need the knowledge base with the math in order to assemble. Look at this, is a fly next to a microcircuit nanobot. I mean, these things are tiny and tiny. All right, so this is at the Kmart. This is at 9:45 in the morning, the day of the fire. Look at this tree go up, folks. Look at this incinerate. Look at the base, the power, and then it explodes and goes straight up. Now, you're telling me at 80 football fields a minute or 273 miles an hour, and these flames are going straight up? The flame should be sideways. And why only this one tree? Why are not any of the other trees catching fire? And look at how hot it is. The yellow and the white. It's exploding. This is the nanotechnology that's wrapped around this single tree, and it's exploding. Look at it explode up.
Okay, so I'm going to pause that right here, because when I saw that clip, it reminded me so much of something else that I saw. Now, this is Max Egan from Australia, who does excellent work.
But imagine you've got a eucalyptus tree, and it's been dropping all of this mulch, and it's been doing it for 20 years. And you've got 20 years worth of droppings on the ground beneath it, and all of it is soaked with aluminium and barium and strontium, this sparkler dust, this form of thermite. And so you get situations like this. Have a look at this firestorm here. Now, claim is again that this is a directed energy weapon. See that yellow and white flame, folks? They said a white flame that came off that, the yellow flame, the way and the wind that came off that. It was like an explosion. What would cause that? Directed energy weapon, or 20 years worth of mulch soaked in barium, strontium and aluminium lying on the ground around a big bunch of eucalyptus trees? Think about it, folks. You know, directed energy weapons, geoengineering, yes, they do use this stuff. But the question is, how do they use it?
So I just wanted to point out the two similarities of those fires. They're not natural. You know, I'm not going to comment any farther right now. That's up for individuals' discernment. Circling back around to who owns Monsanto. Who is Walmart's top business partner in this group, Vanguard, who also own Whole Foods, Comcast, Microsoft, JP Morgan, Charles Schwab, Pharmaceuticals, Cisco, Nike, Amazon, Netflix. So these are the people that have the power. When you see the t-shirts of the companies like Bezos or whatever his name is, Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, those people have no power. They just try to put a face with a company so they can say, oh, look, we're on your side, we're just like you. But they're not just like us. This is Amazon's stock market page, and I just wanted to point something out. If you look at the top investor, it's Vanguard Group. They're the ones that have the power. Jeff Bezos don't do shit. A market realist. Look at this. So this right here, look at Walmart. Just the same as Amazon, just the same as Monsanto, just the same as Whole Foods. Walmart, they're all owned by this Vanguard Group. And I'm going to just do a whole separate video dedicated to Vanguard, because there's a whole lot that I uncovered that I didn't know. This was all new to me, just how large this investor group is, along with BlackRock, the satanic, esoteric, occultist cube reference, and the assets under management. It's a fabricated illusion of choice. No matter where you spend your money, it's all going to the same group, and it's not even really a group of people. It's its own Luciferian entity. BlackRock and Vanguard are supposedly competitors also, but they both own each other. You'll get a headache trying to figure this shit out. When you try to get to the very top, that owns all of these international corporations, and when you find out nobody owns them, the company is owned by its own funds. So there is nobody. Nobody owns these companies. They are Luciferian, and this proves it right here. Vanguard has more than $5 trillion in assets under management. AUM. Okay, when I saw this paragraph, this one sentence spoke volume because of the AUM. That goes into your esoteric, occultish, casting words, black magic spells. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
What the fuck is that supposed to mean?
That meditation stuff that the hippies do use.
Now just go, oh, what? Do it, man.
Assets under management doesn't mean shit. They would have came up with something else for the AUM. This is your Om symbol right here. I'm sure you know somebody that has a tattoo on their ankle. Om symbolizes the supreme personality of the Godhead. The belief is the Lord created the world after chanting the Om, Amen in Christianity and Amen in Islam. Common linguistic ancestry. It's the Logos, the spoken creative force. Here's the Rosicrucians have on Om. Very few Christians in the Occidental world who use the word Amen seem to realize they're using a very ancient mystical word, and that their use of it is more or less incorrect, and certainly most misunderstood. And strange to say, very few Christians know that Jesus himself was called the Amen, as revealed in the passage of the Christian Bible. This illustrates how mystical words may be attached to ritualism without a correct understanding of their use or their nature, and how such words may be continued in use throughout many centuries as a mere formality. In the Masons, every Masonic student will realize the fact that the word AUM is the original of Amen. The latter word is often found repeated in certain magical inscriptions upon cups and urns and among Babylonian relics. Amen does not mean so be it or verily, but signified in a hoary antiquity of prehistoric ages, almost the same as the sacred syllable AUM. In all our churches, we pronounce the sacred syllables but destroy the potency by mispronouncing the word and adding the N. You have not been duly and truly prepared will fail to understand my meaning. And what that means by those who have not been duly and truly prepared, talking about the uninitiated, the non-Masons, the profane. The word for the uninitiated are profane. And jumping back to here, so Vanguard is only second to Black Rock. And Black Rock, that's more esotericism and occultism. And without getting too deep in it, this is a whole nother video. Black Rock is the cube of Saturn, Satan. Black Rock is the Saturn death cube that's been worshipped through thousands of years throughout time and still is worshipped today. But my favorite reference to the black cube death stone of Saturn is at the meditation room in the United Nations headquarters.
The altar is 4 feet high and rests on 2 narrow cross pieces. It is a dark gray block of crystalline iron ore from a Swedish mine and weighs 6½ tons. The Swedish government presented this block of ore, the largest of its kind ever mined, to the United Nations in early 1957. The chunk rests on a concrete pillar that goes straight down to bedrock. The area and passageway beneath the room are closed to the public. The chunk of ore has been described as a lodestone or magnetite, which is strongly magnetic and which possesses polarity. In northern Sweden are what may be the largest magnetite deposits in the world, believed to have been formed by segregation in the magma. Magma is the term for molten material held in solution under the pressure of the Earth's crust.
I had to include that because the narrator, if you didn't recognize the voice, I strongly encourage you to go out and get a copy of William Cooper's Mystery Babylon. This is a list of nicotine-based pesticides that is killing the bee populations. Let's go and pick some out. Bayer, of course, that's Walmart's partner, Ortho, Bug Be Gone. Alright, so let's hold that. Walmart has made a pledge to go against their partners and stop selling these pesticides that are killing bees. It says so right here, words out of their own mouth. Well, okay, that sounds great, right? That's about time they do something good for them. We can go right on Walmart's own page and find out if they're going to keep up to their pledge. Product was Ortho's Bug Be Gone, and they shouldn't even sell this stuff. Oh, look at that. They got a whole list of Ortho products. This must be a mistake. Let's try again. So their claims that they're phasing out these pesticides is complete bullshit.
No shit, baby.
And I am here to illuminate a problem that I thought is going to affect everyone. You guys know I'm a beekeeper for many years. I came across an article. I checked it out to make sure that it was true. Multiple sources. They have purchased a company called Beelogics. They have genetically modified honeybees.
Claudius, I think those are tracker jackers. Am I wrong?
Resistant to the chemicals that they sell 7 times more than regular bees that you would keep.
Oh, those things are very lethal.
Is it good for the environment? But not only are these bees resistant to these chemicals that make everybody dependent on them, these bees now are going to be genetically predisposed not to be affected by the aforementioned chemical cocktail of death. But they're also going to be transgenic, meaning they don't need a queen bee anymore. Not even if the bees are fed what's called royal jelly, which stimulates naturally a queen to be created in a hive. Yada yada, yippee skippy, twisting it and manipulating it until it made it to the point where they've made a problem that you have to buy a solution from them to fix the problem. There's nothing you can do. You can't really fight it. There are folks that are fighting it, non-GMO people, organic people, they're fighting it. Look it up. That lo and behold, all these things are spraying on the plants. It's killing bees. A neonicotinoid.
Oh, those things are very lethal.
And so these neonicotinoid chemicals that are out there have been killing bees. They've created the product. They've created the problem. We'll come in and we'll sell you resistant bees. You're not going to have to worry about the pollination problem of the world anymore. Money and power. Why are these companies being allowed to manipulate the entire destiny of humans. I'm listening. That does not want to see everything go down the drain because of a profit margin. There are companies that are out there that have the ability and are being allowed to manipulate human destiny. They have a habit of going into a small town that is struggling, that has a good water aquifer. They will buy the rights to drain the aquifer in the town, and they will pump out billions and billions and billions of gallons of water, and they'll go sell it back to them. Now the question is, how do we stop it? Tens of hundreds of things that are happening right now in your world that we probably don't even largely know about. We need to push back. We work together and we figure out solutions to things. We're a big group of people. Come together and say no more, and here's how we're going to move ahead. Maybe we can push the agenda.
Tracker-jackers are genetically engineered wasps.
There's not a whole lot out on the CRISPR machine. Everybody knows CRISPR is the world's favorite gene editing tool, but they've done a little bit of work on honeybees. I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking because there's just so much that I've tried to cover. Just branched out in so many directions. I'm trying to stay focused. It just wanted to go everywhere. It's evidence that CRISPR is editing honeybee genes, and it doesn't even tell why.
Federal scientists are working around the clock to probe its secrets. Once we understand the bug, we will defeat it.
Isn't that important? This is just minor details. We all know that it's happening, and it's not just transhuman, it's trans nature. There's nothing more natural. All the things that we once knew mankind could not tamper with has now been proven to be artificial. 5G is one of the most catastrophic things that mankind has ever introduced, probably except for the invention of money. It says here that 5G, or just the radiation exposure, activates voltage, all kinds of bad shit. This leads to increased calcium levels within cells, is the root of most inflammatory diseases, including neurodegenerative and cardiovascular diseases, migraines, allergies. The brain may become hyperactive, overloaded, leading to loss of concentration, ADHD, damage to DNA, loss of fertility, increased risk of cancer, digestive problems. Membrane leakage can also open the blood-brain barrier and other protective barriers, leading to Alzheimer's, dementia, asthma, allergies, and various autoimmune disorders. Here's a completely separate article devoted just to bees getting dementia with Alzheimer's. They are saying this is because of aluminum, which would be chemtrails, but that's only because they haven't really started pushing out this 5G reports. I'm just presenting it to you. I have really gone out of my way to make sure that these are all legit. If you want the details, go out and look. The information is available. There's another link here. 40% of the honeybee population lost over the 1 year as mysterious die-off accelerates. What year is this? This is from 2015. So this is not a new article. 40% mysterious die-off. Let's link again. The U.S. honeybee population suffers unsustainable death rate. Unsustainable death rate. That's your Agenda 21 buzzword. This goes back to 2014. I'm not even going to read the article. We already know that these mysterious dementia illnesses, Alzheimer's, have already been reported in bees. And now the information is becoming available that it's not just from chemtrails, it's from 5G also. Here's something about birds. We've all seen the mass die-off. 5G is killing all these birds. Their feathers act as antennae, and the radiation disturbs their natural orientation and navigation mechanisms, who use the Earth's magnetic field and light energy to orient and navigate. It makes them restless, develops an urge to swarm, increasingly aggressive, colony collapse. And I don't know where the article went, but I found one, and the bees were stabbing. They were stinging each other to death. They were killing each other off when they were getting hit with these 5G rays, and they were attacking and stinging each other to death. The birds, the bees, and mankind, destroying nature by electrosmog. Starting on page 12, basically it just talks about all the flowers, all the plants that these pollinators take care of that would not be here. It says not only 5G, monoculture, pesticides, mites, migratory beekeeping, severe weather, genetically modified plants are no doubt some problems. In section 3, something really stood out. If you go back to the Bill Cooper Black Cube of Saturn at the UN meditation room, he talks about the black cube of death being made out of a certain type of material called magnetite. But if you scroll down just a little bit here on page 14, it says magnetite is found in all animals that navigate using their own compass. Now, I don't know what the importance of that is. If anything, it's just another example of how these occultists use these things that occur in nature, and they manipulate and they distort them and they pervert them to their own nefarious ends.
Sierra Madre, California. But I find it interesting that they have these things up here and they don't even know if they're safe for people. But I can tell you that they're definitely are not safe for our environment, because it is killing bees all over the place over here, and who knows what else. There's one right there. But as they go over here, they have 2 towers in between each other. As you go over here, you see a lot of dead bees everywhere. All over the ground. There's dead bees all over the ground. A bunch of them. And there's another tower that's about 40 feet away from this first one. And we come here all the time, and I never noticed. I noticed the dead bees and couldn't figure out why they were dying. And then I started hearing more about how can I get this on there? I started hearing more about these about the Wi-Fi and the 5G. Look at all these bees. And this is between the 2 poles. So there's literally another pole right here. There's this one, which has many more plates on it. And then if I zoom around over this way, there's another one right here. So they're like 40 feet away from each other. And then coming down here, there's like bees all over the ground. And this is literally between the 2. So I'm just trying to document this video, showing what it's doing to the bees and how much more can it be doing to us and our kids and all this stuff. Here goes another bee, just fell on the floor. Wow. Just fell out of the sky, another bee, as I'm filming this. Right in between this, another one. Wow. I can hear them dropping. And they're dropping in between these towers. I mean, look. Look at all these bees everywhere. It's just bees scattered all over the place, dead from these towers. More bees. More bees over here. So I'm not for this 5G thing that's coming, and I hope that we can change things somehow. All right, God bless. Peace out.
Here's Walmart's partnership in connection with the 5G. Microsoft 5-year artificial intelligence partnership. Microsoft today announced a 5-year partnership with Walmart to speed the company's digital transformation via the combination of artificial intelligence, the cloud, and the Internet of Things. That is directly 5G related. It is no coincidence that the strategic partnership is being announced on Prime Day, the biggest day of the year for Walmart's chief competitor, Amazon. We've already established that the whole competition is a fraud. It's the illusion of choice. They all are the same people. Microsoft and Walmart, they know that 5G is killing everything alive. They know that the people don't want it, but they don't care. I don't have time to get into this article, but if you want more information on it, just leave me a note in the comment section. Send me an email. I'll be more than happy to share all of my bibliography with you. Alright, so we're almost done here. A couple more minutes. We went into how they're killing these bugs and who's killing them. So let's try to determine one of the reasons why they're being killed. Not only for the food aspect, but the pharmaceutical end also. There have been researching this anti-cancer capabilities and properties of honey for a long time now, but you're never going to see any fruits come from these investigations. So there's work with chemotherapy, cancer in animals, liver cancer, colorectal, prostate.
Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature.
4 healing properties of Manuka honey. Healing wounds, good against infection, can be used as a sore throat, good for your skin. PDFs are like my favorite. Honey is a natural product known for its varied biological or pharmacological activities ranging from anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antibacterial, anti-hypertensive to hypoglycemic effects. These effects of honey have been thoroughly investigated in certain cancers such as breast, liver, colorectal cancer cell lines. In contrast, limited but promising data are available in other forms of cancers including prostate, bladder, kidney, skin, cervical, oral, bone. Honey is highly cytotoxic against tumor or cancer cells while it is non-toxic to normal cells. The data indicate that honey can inhibit carcinogenesis by modulating molecular processes of initiation, promotion, and progression of stages. Thus, it may serve as a potential and promising anti-cancer agent which warrants further experimental and clinical studies. So you're not going to hear about nothing like that when you go to the doctors. They're going to get you all jacked up on chemo and fear. That's it. They've got a client for life. It concludes that honey is a natural product that shows potential effects to suppress the development and progression of tumor and cancers. Its anti-proliferative, anti-tumor, anti-metastatic, and anti-cancer effects are mediated. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce these medical terms, guys. And I know that if you've made it this far, obviously, if I mispronounce some medical jargon, you're not going to hold it against me. But you'd be surprised that some of the assholes leave these comments that they're just spell check Nazis. But I wanted to note that last sentence. It can be considered a potential and promising anti-cancer agent which warrants further research. The research has been done. They need to start moving on to whatever the next step is after research. Maybe development. And I'm not going to go bouncing around too much longer. But I doubt that one sentence at the end of that last article. Every time you have something that shows promises, they always say, we need further research. They never get past the research stage. So this article here is something that I ran across that's just the same. About the nanobots. It has cancer curing capabilities. Of course, we're never going to see it but if you scroll down to the end, and the article is about all of the capabilities of nanotech has on healing the body. But they're only going to use it for weaponization, for militarization. And it says clearly there's one thing we can agree on. Much more research must be done. But that's bullshit. The research is there. Just trying to drag this out This right here, going into the all the different things that honey can do to heal people. It's not just cancer and antibiotics. I'm not going to try to pronounce these medical terms, but here's a list of over 200 studies of bees and honey on everything. Radiation-induced cancer patients. Well, that's probably chemo. Of course, they're not going to get rid of their chemo. Good for diabetes, appetite, and obesity. Kills cancer, sinuses, plaque. And mouthwash, it says effective mouthwash, honey eardrops for ear disease, liver damage, irritable bowel syndrome. So I think that the pharmaceutical companies have just as much reason for the targeted bee population destruction as the food supply. Walmart has every reason to be one of the leaders in the eradication of the honeybee populations for the food, the agricultural, the biotech, and the pharmaceutical aspects of it as well. They just opened up their first healthcare services super center. Walmart is opening its first 10,000 square foot Walmart Health Center that features an array of medical services, dental care, and behavioral health services. That's just where I'm going to go for their behavioral and mental health checkups. Pretty soon, we'll never even have to leave Walmart. You can deliver your child at Walmart and then live there forever, and it'll just be like a big FEMA smart camp. So thank you for sitting through this with me, guys. Hopefully that you enjoyed it as much as I had fun making it. I learned a whole lot. I would have liked to have gone into more detail, but my time was really limited. I spent a lot of time editing this thing and gathering the material, and I didn't want to break it. I struggled with deciding whether or not to keep it one video or to make it 2 or 3. You're never going to make everybody happy. That was my video. I wanted to keep it all solid. That just meant that I cut a lot of scenes out. A lot of stuff got cut short. All my sources are available. Just ask me in the comment section, and of course I'll send them to you. If I miss something, it might have just got cut by mistake. If I'm wrong about something, let me know. But I'm pretty good about keeping my shit straight. This was only my second video. The audio sucks. I'm just using a crappy Chromebook. So maybe one day, I'll upgrade and get like a microphone. You are now presented with some information that you can use. If nothing else, you can at least be aware of what's going on. You know that all these companies are out to get you, but at least now you know. Peace, I'm out.